All right, we're in the last part of our series today, of this brand new series called The New Rules for Sex, Love, Dating, and Marriage. So this is the final installment today. I hope this series has been an encouragement to you. Let me just take a mass survey today. How many of you are not married and hope to one day meet the one? Would you just raise your hand really high? Not married, hope to one day meet the one, be with the one? All right, good, there. How many of you are married and you would say that you're married, you married the one? Just raise your hand up real high. How many of you like to trade them in for another one? No. Do not raise your hand. Only a joke. Hey, here's the key thought today. Ultimate fulfillment in life is only found when you find the one. Ultimate fulfillment in life is only found when you find the one. Now, as you look at a lot of marriages, results would tell you that some people have found the wrong one. Dr. Holly Hines' book, Sexual Detour, I want to give you 3 stats from her book. 3 stats that shook me up and I hope shake you up as well. Here's what she says. 70% of married men and 60% of married women have affairs. Now, I want you just to stop for a moment. I want you to feel the pain. She goes on and says, less than half the couples who marry will stay married for 15 years. Third stat, every 10 to 13 seconds, another couple divorces. I want you to stop for just a moment and feel the pain. I want you to embrace it. I want you to imagine what it feels like to have this conversation with your children. We no longer love each other. I'm moving out. Or to hear this from your spouse. I don't love you anymore. I don't love you. See, today as we're in this final installment of this series, I want to encourage you, but I also want you to understand the weight of some of the decisions that we make when it comes into our marriage. And some of you today have chosen to renew your vows today. So many of you have signed up and said, this is the day that we're going to renew our vows. Some of you didn't sign up to renew your vows today, but I want to give you the opportunity to do that in just a little bit. And just by way of understanding what we're going to do today, understand you don't have to come up in front of everybody. I'm not going to bring you up on the stage. There's no public speaking involved. You get to simply stand where you're at. Some of you are here today and you never got married in a church. Maybe you weren't even a follower of Jesus when you got married, but now you've come to know Jesus and you want to make God the foundation of your marriage. I believe today is the day for you. And so in just a moment, what we're going to do is we're going to walk through some biblical vows. The vows that I believe God would want us to partake in when it comes to marriage. Those of you that are single, I realize right now you're hearing all this and you like want to vomit, okay? Like you're like, I'm not sure if I chose the right time to come to church today. I'm not sure I even chose the right church. I should have slept in, taken my extra hour of sleep today. But singles, I want you to understand how important this is. For a couple of reasons. One, so that you can understand what vows should be like when you do this thing God's way. When you choose marriage God's way, it looks different than the world's way. And some of you, you hope to do this thing God's way one day. And I want you to understand what it means. So I want to encourage you, man, get your notes out. Take some notes. Understand what God wants to build your marriage on the rock. Some of you are here today. And I talked to a kid right after this service was over. And he's in his early 20s. And he came down, and first thing he did is just give me a big hug. And he said, my mom and dad are struggling right now. And he said, I watched my mom and my dad make these vows and commitments to one another today. And he said, I'm so proud of my dad. I'm so proud of my dad to say these words. He said, well, you were talking, I was watching my dad the whole time. And he said, you have no idea what this did for me today. I want you to understand how powerful this moment can be. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 24 says this. It says, this explains, let's talk about marriage, why a man leaves his father and his mother and is joined to his wife. This word leaves is the Hebrew word ashab. And it means a trapeze. It's like we're here with mom and dad, and then we trapeze, and we join together with our wife. We cling, we adhere. And it says, and the two are united into one. Now, I've been watching a lot of March Madness right now. I'm pumped. This is like my favorite time of the year. I love basketball, and it's getting ready to start. I spent yesterday just watching basketball all day. Man, what an incredible day it was. By the way, I want to say thank you because we moved our Saturday night service to Sunday. I just want to give you a little update because we stopped doing Saturday nights, we moved to Sunday, and some of you have made that transition, and you gave up your seat on Saturday night, and you kind of got out of rhythm a little bit, and I just want to say thank you. Last Sunday night, we had 130 people that were here at our Sunday night service. We were averaging about 75 for 3 years on our Saturday night service, and so we have nearly doubled that amount in 3 weeks. We've only been doing it for 3 weeks. And can I just say personally from myself and our staff as well, thank you for letting us spend Saturdays with our family. I've never watched Saturday basketball games before because I've always been preparing for Saturday night service. And seriously, that's a family day that we now get to have, that we get to make sure that we model what we're talking about and spending time together. And so I want to say thank you. Some of you were, you gave up Saturday nights. You started coming on Sunday mornings, or some have been coming to Sunday night. And I just want to say, it takes an unselfish church to reach people. We're on a mission to lead people to find and follow Jesus. And it takes unselfish people to be able to do that. And can I just tell you, as your pastor, I honor you, I respect you, and I say thank you from the bottom of my heart. So back to basketball. I've been watching these teams win, and what do, man? They put the #1 sign up. They're like, we're #1, we love #1. I want everybody to take your #1. Everybody get the #1 up right now, right? Look at the #1, because here's what I want to tell you about the #1. See, Scripture says the two become what, church? One. And here's the thing I notice about one, is that the #1 cannot be divided. The #1 cannot be divided. It is together. And Scripture says that the man and the wife were both naked. They felt no shame. There was no worthlessness. They were one. Now, how do you become one? This is God's plan. Jimmy Evans has a book called Marriage on the Rock. Marriage on the Rock. The rock being Jesus. And if you want your marriage on the rock, he gives 4 vows that I'm going to share with you today that at the end, I'm going to ask you to be able to share with one another. So here's vow #1. It's the vow of priority. And the vow of priority says this: I promise that God will be my #1 priority, and my spouse will be my #2. Let me go back to the original statement. The key thought of this message is ultimate fulfillment in life is only found when you find the one. And here's the first vow: that you understand that God is to be the #1. Matthew chapter 22, Jesus said, love God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. This is the what, church? First. You guys awake? This is the what, church? First. It's the #1. It's the first and the greatest commandment. And the second is likened to it, where it says, love your neighbor as yourself. So I promise God will be my #1 priority, and my spouse will be my #2. Now, I remember the very first time that, I remember when Shannon and I first started dating. And we were in college. We met in Bible college. And I remember the moment when I was like, man, I really like her. And I think she likes me, but I'm not quite sure. And I remember that moment where I wanted to hold her hand. You guys remember that moment that you had? It's like whenever you want to hold their hand. And Matt told that story a couple weeks ago about that guy that put his hand out for the movies, and she never came over to hold his hand, so he had to sit through the whole movie, sitting like this just so he didn't feel so awkward. See, here was my move with Shannon. My move with Shannon was like this. All right, I did one of these. You ever done one of these? Then you got this open right here, okay, to actually touch together. I remember when I was like this, and Shannon and I were there. I was going to hold her hand for the very first time, and I remember seeing her hands, and what I imagine in my mind is her hand was like soft, smelled like Bath and Body Works, like amazing. And I'm feeling my hands, and my hands are like cold as could be. I'm like, this is not going to be good. So I started like warming them up a little bit, you know. Then as I'm getting ready, okay, to like make my move, okay, to be able to come in, I noticed I warmed them up a little too much, and I think I was just a little nervous in the moment, and my hands started sweating like this, turned from cold to sweat. I'm like wiping it off, going back in. I remember that moment, though, whenever they touched, I was like, yes! Some of you need to go back to those early days. And back to those days of those moments and those feelings. And it's like, man, I love her and you love him. And I remember just being in that moment and you know, like wanting to, you know, it's like, then I went back and I was just in the mood. You ever go back and listen to like love songs? Like whenever you like have like this little moment together. So, you know, I went back, put my Poison cassette in and, you know, listen to a little Pour Some Sugar on Me. Some of you are like, could he be the one? Could she be the one? You know, just once, I'd like to hear two followers of Jesus meet and them say, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I think I just met the two. See, because God is supposed to be the one, your spouse is to be the two, and to be ultimately fulfilled in your life, you have to find the one. God is the one. Remember the very first commandment, number one commandment? You shall have no other gods before me. Listen, if you're here and you're single, hear this. If you're pursuing marriage more than you're pursuing God, that's idolatry. That's sin. See, God says he wants to be the one. Matthew 6:33, he says, seek first, number one, his kingdom and his righteousness and all these other things. He says, I'll give to you as well. Take care of the one. Those that are married, we have to be careful not to let something else jump into that number one spot. And it's so easy for this to happen. It's so easy to let our careers jump into the number one spot. That when it comes to our jobs and our career, what we do, that it becomes part of our identity. It's all we think about. It's all we talk about. And it just becomes everything that consumes our mind. And all of a sudden, instead of God being the one, our spouse being the two, our career jumped up to that first spot. God says, listen, you got to remember your valid priority. See, for some of you, it's your children. It's like your children all of a sudden jump up and they move into that number one spot. At the beginning, it feels right. I mean, it feels natural. It's like, you know, God gave me this beautiful child, and it's like, you know, it's a part of me, and you're supposed to love your kids, right? I mean, you're supposed to, you know, help your kids grow, and your kids need you so much. But all of a sudden, that child moves into the number one slot. And it's all you talk about. It's all you think about. It's all you focus on. And God says, here's the priority. I'm supposed to be the number one. Your spouse is supposed to be the two. Then come your children. Understand the priority. Number two, the second vow. You have the vow pursuit or the vow priority. I promise God will be my number one priority. My spouse will be my number two. Then you have the vow pursuit. I promise that I will pursue my number two. I promise that I will pursue my number two. Pursuing your spouse is how you preserve the marriage and keep divorce away. You have to continue to date your mate. You have to continue to keep pursuing your spouse. Shannon and I, we've been married now for 16 years. And guess what we still do? We still date each other. We have a monthly meeting that we have. It's a standing meeting every month. It's on the calendar. And we do a couple things at that meeting every single month. First thing we do is we do our budget meeting. And this is where we tell every dollar that we have where to go the next month. Because if you don't tell those dollars where to go, you'll have no idea where they go. They will run away from you so fast, you'll try to find them, you'll never find them. So it's like, here's what we do. At the beginning of the month, we get together and say, you're going here, you're going here. Nope, you're not going there, you're going here. You got to direct those things, every single one of them. So we get together, we have our budget meeting, we tell all the dollars where to go. Then after we tell all the dollars where to go, we see where all of them went last month. Make sure we get them back in order if they need to get back in order. Then what we do is we do our calendar meeting. And this is a time when we get together and we go through the entire month. And what we specifically put in there is we put in there our date days, our date months, our date nights. And we say, here's where we're going to go. Here's what we're going to do. We put in a family day as well. And we carve it off and we block it off. For us, Friday is the day that is our family day. It's like we get Friday, we get Saturday. Most people get Saturday and Sunday. We get Friday and Saturday. So I don't usually like return calls. That's my family day. It's like I block that day off along the way. Why? Because I understand the vow of priority and the vow of pursuit. And listen, it's not because I don't have enough to do. Like I'm just, hey, I got nothing going on. I got all kinds of things going on. I have all kinds of things. So I have to keep the main thing the main thing. Because every time I say yes to something, and every time you say yes to something, you simultaneously are saying no to something else. So you have to understand the priorities along the way. So when I say yes to my family, and I say yes to my times with God, I put my times with God on the calendar. People call and say, hey, can we get breakfast? I'm like, I'd love to, but I got a prior commitment. I do. It's my commitment with God. It's my commitment to spending time in His Word, His time reading. Why? Because I got to make sure that my priorities are in line, that I'm pursuing God, my number one, and I'm also pursuing my number two. Continue to date your mate. I've heard some young families here. We were talking, and they said, you know what? We have a hard time going out on a date because when we go out, our kids cry. And every time we leave, our kids cry, and we can't see our kids crying like that. We can't leave. I've heard people say, I can't take my kids to church because right now they just cry whenever I leave, when they walk away. So did ours. Our kids cry too. But you get to choose the tears. When we would go out on a date, guess what? The babysitter would come and they said, Mommy, Daddy, don't leave us. And I'd say, listen, well, we can either right now, they can cry right now while we're going out on a date, or else they'll cry later when they find out we're not doing Christmas together because we don't love each other. Or they'll cry later whenever we can't all be together at their birthdays. Kids are going to cry no matter what. You get to choose the appropriate tears and when they are. It's okay. Understand the vow of pursuit. The third vow is the vow of partnership. The vow of partnership. This is what we say, I promise our marriage will be about we and not about me. I promise our marriage will be about we and not about me. It's the third vow. Now, I want to just kind of explain this vow of partnership because most people view marriage like a contract. I understand contracts right now. If you haven't heard yet, we just signed our contract to be able to working with the landlord of our brand new building. We are moving. We are going to 1300 North Kellogg. It's 2.7 miles away from here. It has 579 parking spots. It's going to move us together. It is going to be the state-of-the-art facilities. We are going to have an amazing kids ministry, student ministry. We have space for a Celebrate Recovery ministry. Guys, God has had His hand of favor upon us. And at the same time, guess what we also received this week? We received a letter of intent from another church that wants this church. God is lining some things up for His church. And in the midst of working through this, listen, this has been a 4-year journey. 14 different properties that we have looked at, that we have pursued along the way. And all of a sudden, God just started opening things up for us. Church, God has His hand of favor upon us right now. And here's what I recognize. Right now, we're in the midst of signing contracts. Contracts that people are going to buy this church, us signing contracts for that. And here's what I've learned about a contract, is that a contract is it's based on mutual distrust. It is. It's like, I'm in as far as you're in. And if you do me wrong, guess what? I can get out of it. Some of you own rental property. How many of you own rental property? You got rental property? Many of you do. You make sure you have a contract, right? And you have a very good rule. It's a great rule. It goes like this. No pay, no stay. Why? Because we have a contract. It also has a flip side, that if you don't deliver, they can get out. This is the way most people treat marriages, like a contract. It's based upon mutual distrust. And then you become a monitor to the other person to make sure they hold up their end of the bargain. But God says, I don't want your marriage to be like a contract. I want it to be a covenant. And here's how a covenant is different. It's not based on mutual distrust. It's based upon mutual commitment. A covenant is an unending, totally binding commitment, and it can be maintained. It can be maintained even by one person. It says, you know what? You may break this, but I'm not going to break my covenant vow before God. I'm all in. Every bit of me. 100%. No back door. And when you give your covenant vows, you're not giving your vows before the state that you live in, but before the God of the heavens. Richer or poorer, better or worse, in sickness and in health. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. And divorce, it's not even an option. I remember when Shannon and I were going through our premarital counseling, we were going through premarital counseling with her pastor, and he told us, he said, listen, just eliminate the word divorce out of your vocabulary. Don't even bring it up. Don't even talk about it. I read this story of Ruth Graham, who's married to Billy Graham. How many of you know who the evangelist Billy Graham is? This reporter was interviewing Ruth, and they said, have you ever thought about divorcing Billy Graham? And she said, never, not one day. She said, I did think about murdering him on many occasions. But never divorce. See, a covenant, it's this binding agreement. And in today's society, so many marriages are based upon compatibility. And if your marriage is based upon compatibility, it's not going to make it. Listen, Shannon would tell you, after being married for 16 years, that we're not always compatible. Love is not a feeling. Love is a choice. It's a covenant together. In the Old Testament, the bride and the groom would stand before the priest, and the priest would ask for the hand of the bride and the groom. And he would take out a knife, and he would cut into their hand, and their blood would flow, and they'd put it together. In Leviticus, it says the life of a person is in the blood. And when you mingle the blood together, it's a covenant. Then the priest would take a cord and he would tie it together as a picture of them becoming one. And in God's beautiful picture of marriage, he establishes this gift of sex, of intimacy, of making love as a covenant of the marriage coming together, of two becoming one. Now today, people see it more like a contract than they do a covenant. And before people get married, it's like marriage is no big deal today. So what people do is they do married things before they're married. And the Bible, it instructs us that the marriage bed should be kept pure. Not because God wants to kill all your joy. Not because God's like this cosmic killjoy and says, I don't want you to have any fun. God's not down on sex. He created it. Did you know it was God's idea? God's not down on sex. What God is down on is he's down on pain. And he understands the pain that happens when you operate outside of his boundaries of the marriage bed together. So what happens in today's society, though, is people do married things before they're married. Before long, his toothbrush is at her place, or her toothbrush is at his place, and they got a little drawer. And what they're doing is they're pretending to be married. And this is why the breakup is so hard, because they've been pretending to be married. You give your heart away. You give your body away. And then it doesn't work out, and you practice divorce. You take your toothbrush and your stuff and your friends, and you split apart. And then what happens when you get married on later? You've been practicing marriage and divorce with 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, 12 people. And then one day, you finally walk down that aisle and you see it as a contract, not a covenant. And you go back to what you've always been practicing. And you take your toothbrush and you go separate ways. Why? Because marriage, it's just a piece of paper. Now I want to share my heart for those that have been divorced here. because I do not want to heap condemnation on you. For so many of you, you have felt some serious pain, and I acknowledge that. Some of you would say, man, I've made some mistakes in the past, and if you could go back, you would have done it differently. Some of you right now, if you had a mic, you would come up and you would say that you would never want to go through what you've done before. So let's talk, not from the past. Let's talk from today forward. From now, moving ahead. If you are a follower of Jesus, when you get married, you stand before God, you make a promise to God to enter into a blood covenant of two becoming one. It's not about me, it's about we. And it's not about me, it's about serving Him together, our one. It's not about me, it's about we, and it's about we serving He. Then there's the vow of purity. This is when you say, we're going to be pure, that I promise to confide in you and not hide from you. See, secrets can kill relationships. Some of you have been married a long time, and there's some stuff in the attic that you don't want anybody to see. But whenever you begin to confess is whenever unity can come together. Confess your sin to a righteous person. The Bible says that confess your sin to one another. And it says the prayers of a righteous availeth much. But you also have to receive confessions with grace. And one of the things, if your marriage is in trouble right now, if you're struggling in your marriage, if you want more for your marriage, one of the greatest things that you can do is pray together. Maybe you're going through a tough season. Listen, I believe one of the greatest things you can do is bring God into your marriage. It's God coming in, and it's praying together. I recently read this Gallup poll. It said 50% of marriages end in divorce. It said 50% of Christian marriages end in divorce. But then they went on and said, couples that pray together, 1 out of every 1,153 marriages that pray together end in divorce. You want to get on the right side of the statistic? This is how to do it. It's by praying together. 1 out of every 1,153 marriages end in divorce of people that pray together. And some of you say, well, man, I don't pray out loud. Like prayer, that's a very private thing for me. I would encourage you just to start by just grabbing hands and having a moment of silence where you pray and then they pray. And you don't have to pray out loud. Just keep it there. It's a good place to start. And then maybe one of you will gather up enough courage after you've done that for a little while. One of you will actually speak up some words together. Listen, prayer will unite you together. So here's what I want to do at this time. I want to ask all of those that are willing to renew their vows. In just a moment, not yet, I'm going to ask you to stand. Now, this is the moment. Okay, there's no legal barring going on right now. You're not going to be singled out. You're not going to stand up in front of the church. Don't worry, you're not going to be alone. You don't have to come up front. What we're going to do is we're going to commit to these 4 vows together today. So I'm going to give you a moment. Go ahead and look at her. Go ahead and say, hey, are we in? Is this like, are we good? Okay, maybe you need to just say, I'm sorry. Maybe I got in a big fight on the way to church. It's the way it works. To say, I'm sorry. Are we good? Is this what we want to do? Even if you didn't sign up, that's okay. That's okay. Now, some of you singles are like, oh, here comes the moment. Chill out. It's all good. Just sit back, enjoy the moment here for a moment. So if that's you, I want to ask Shannon to come up right now. We're going to lead you together into the vows, the biblical vows of putting your marriage on the rocks. On the count of 3, if you want to do it, ready? Here we go. We're going to stand. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. Give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Now listen, last service we had this little awkward moment where we had like 2 people that were together, but grandma was in between them, but she was asleep. True story. And they didn't know how to like get around all that. So listen, if you need to find your spouse, and maybe they're on the other, go ahead and find them. We're good with that, all right? Take some time. Make sure you are together. And here's what we're going to do. I want you to turn and face your spouse and look at your spouse in the eye. Go ahead and turn them, look them in the eye. And men, I'm going to recite the covenant of marriage. And if you agree at the end, just say, I do. Okay, so here it is. Look at her, don't look at me. On our wedding day, I pledge to love you in sickness and in health, and for better or worse. And these vows have been tested, but our enduring love for one another has prevailed. Others come and go, but you're the constant in my life, whom I will always love. I believe in this marriage more than ever, and I've come here today to solemnly promise to make a fresh start, to renew our vows of love, honor, fidelity, and to reaffirm my love and commitment for you. In the presence of God and our family and church friends, I renew my vows to you, pledging my eternal love for you and eagerly awaiting what life may bring us. Men, if you agree, will you look her in the eyes and say, I do?
Okay, ladies, it's our turn. On our wedding day, I pledge to love you in sickness and in health, and for better or worse. These vows have been tested, but our enduring love for one another has prevailed. Others come and go, but you are the constant in my life, whom I will always love. I believe in this marriage more than ever, and I come here today to solemnly promise to make a fresh start, to renew our vows of love, respect, honor, fidelity, and to reaffirm my love and commitment for you in the presence of God and our family and friends. I renew my vows to you, pledging my eternal love for you and eagerly awaiting what life may bring us. Ladies, if you agree, say I do.
Now, men, if you haven't already, go ahead and join her hands. Join hands with your spouse. And men, I want you to repeat after me as you exchange your vows. Just say, I promise that God will be my number one priority. And you will be my two. I promise that I will pursue you as my two. I promise that our marriage will be about we and not about me. I promise to confide in you and not hide from you. According to God's holy ordinance, I pledge you my unconditional love.
Okay, ladies, repeat after me. I promise that God will be my number one priority and you will be my two. I promise that I will pursue you as my two. I promise that our marriage will be about we and not about me. I promise to confide in you and not hide from you. According to God's holy ordinance, I pledge you my unconditional love.
Now at this time, we're going to have a special song. So I want to ask you just to keep standing. If you want to dance, you can dance. If you want to pray, you can pray. I want you just to enjoy this moment together as you look at each other and remember, this is your prayer to each other and your commitment to each other.
Wise men say only fools rush in. Oh, but I can't help falling So take my hand and take my whole life too. Oh, 'cause I can't help falling in love with you. Like a river flows so surely to the sea, oh my darling, so it goes. Oh, some things are meant to be, so won't you please just take my hand and take my whole life too. Oh, but I can't help falling in love with you. Oh, I can't help falling in love with you, falling in love with you.
Now, men, the moment you've been waiting for, you may now kiss your bride. Enjoy your honeymoon tonight. At this time, we have a special reception planned after the service. All of those that made commitments today, feel free to get your pictures taken. We have a photographer on the patio. We have some wedding cake today. Let's celebrate. I hope to see you again next week at our service. You can stand. You are dismissed. Give them a big hand today.